He was a thinker, he was an egoist, he was an optimist, he was a refugee, he was courageous, he was brilliant, he was kind of full of life and a great, great, great love of humanity and of humanity at its best. He was restless, he was hungry for thought and understanding. I could just as easily be talking about Bertolt Brecht as his character Galileo.
He'll steal an idea, he'll call it his own, he'll grease up to a prince, he's manipulative, hypocritical, possibly self-obsessed, and has an ego probably bigger than the Vatican.
My name's Eamon Flack, I'm the artistic director at Belvoir and I'm directing this production of Galileo. In the show we see a series of 12, 13 scenes that cover the whole of the second half of the life of Galileo, from the moment where he really began to make some big discoveries and realise some big things, through to the last real kind of intervention he made in history when he helped to smuggle his last set of notes out of the Catholic world and into then more freer Protestant world. In this sequence of scenes, we see him doing everything from kind of just learning about floating bodies to arguing with his peers about the nature of scientific discovery, the nature of truth. We see him encounter power. We see him kind of, make big decisions about whether to choose his own safety and perhaps his own comfort over his scientific knowledge and over the truth. Basically, we get this kind of great unraveling portrait of a single guy encountering truth at its most immediate through scientific discovery and power at its most self-protective and perhaps most brutal.
Hello, my name's Colin Friels and I'm playing Galileo in the play Life of Galileo, adapted by Tom Wright. Galileo is propounding the theory that the Earth is not the centre of the universe and in fact revolves around the sun, and that other planets revolve around the sun. In fact, the sun is the centre of the universe and all revolves around it. The Vatican at the time not necessarily didn't believe this, but didn't want this to be acceptable as Vatican policy, because it was important for the Church at that time to not lose its authority.
It's not really a play at all about science. It's really a play about what we're discovering the hard way in the world at the moment, which is that if you want to maintain power, then deny the truth. And in fact, don't just deny it, but perhaps just create an alternative. Just lie. Because it's easier to sell a lie than to sell the truth. And that's actually what the play is about. Brecht was writing this in the last years of the Nazi regime's pre-war existence, and then he rewrote it after the war. So he was seeing very clearly the consequences of what happens when you try to build a whole society on a bunch of lies. It doesn't work out. We just tell whatever convenient lies we need to in order to keep holding on to the comfort and power that we've got. And I'm not just talking about, nor is Brecht just talking about the people at the top. He's talking about the way that we all get on board with this, the way that we all choose comfort over truth. It's not just the powerful who choose power over truth.
But he does speak sense, and he does believe in his view of human reason. And he does believe that his science could in fact benefit humankind generally, in that it will give them a knowledge of how things work. But this is Brecht's view of Galileo. One of the things I like about this is that at least I think Tom has written the opportunity for the person playing Galileo to have muscle in the brain and in his courage. He understands the danger, but he wants to go for the jugular, and he wants to do it with fact. He wants to do it from being smart.
My view of Galileo is a frustrated one because I just want him to do his work, don't cause me too much trouble, and invent things that are useful for our society. My name is Sonia Todd and I'm playing the Vice-Chancellor in the life of Galileo. The tension that exists between the Vice-Chancellor and who she represents, the university, and creative thinkers like Galileo is that he lives in his imaginary world and I live in the real world, and I have to deal with running a university, getting sponsorship and support for the university, money. What happens during the play is I think that we've come to an understanding, and it becomes very clear after a while that in fact we haven't, and the consequences of that are very damaging. I think the thing I've learnt most about Galileo is that he's a man of contradiction and a man of human fault. He likes drinking well and having all the luxuries of life. And I think people around him, his followers, want him to be heroic. But the thing about Galileo is he doesn't want to be a hero. He just wants to explore and discover. There's another character that I play. She's a smaller character. Her name is Mrs. Sati, and she is a tiger mum. She wants her daughter to get into a selective school, and she wants Galileo to tutor her daughter, and she's very unsettled by the fact that he is maybe filling her mind with things that can't be seen, that things that are not tangible. When I pick her up at the end of her class, at the end of scene 1, I say to Mr. Galilei, Mr. Galilei, I'm not interested in a world I can't see. She's interested in a world that's narrowing down to a focal point. So it comes to an apex of a world and an idea of a world, whereas Galileo is completely the opposite. He likes to expand his world and to see what's possible that he doesn't even know that might be out there. So they're diametrically opposed, those two characters.
I'm led into a special room in Galileo's study, where for the first time I see the Ptolemaic system of the universe as a 3D model. Hi, my name is Vaishnavi and I play Andrea. So in the Ptolemaic model, the main difference to what we currently know to be true is that the Earth is at the center of the universe, and the sun is actually in the place where the Earth would be. So back then, the way of thinking was that all the planets and all the stars and all the celestial bodies revolved around the Earth, because the Earth was the most important thing. Andrea is being taught by Galileo because her mum thinks that she's not very good at maths. But the thing is, she's actually quite clever. She sees things with her own two eyes, and that's something that recurs through the play. She's one of the few people that can look with her eyes and make observations and not be affected by doctrine or religion or dogma, all that kind of stuff. So she can put all of that kind of aside and just say, no, my eyes tell me this, so actually we need to rethink our way of seeing the world, which is pretty awesome, which not a lot of people do. Galileo, to someone like Andrea, is somewhat of a hero or a god. They're pretty extreme terms, but if you think about it, having someone so open-minded and excited in that time would have been so exciting to her. Someone who's not constrained by the philosophies of the time and who takes her seriously as well, her intellect seriously, even though she's young. She gets from him a real sense of how important science is for science's sake, how important discovery is for discovery's sake, and just for the ability to expand human knowledge and learn more about the universe.
In Galileo's time, the seat of power was the church. In 2019, it's about power with a capital P. So, whether that's corporations, whether it's vested interests, trying to manipulate our world. And I think Brecht is saying to us in 2019, open your eyes and see what is happening around you and see what you stand to lose.